Hi everybody. Today's video is going to be on Unit 5, Verbs, Kinds of Verbs in your Grammar Workbook. Okay, and this is to prepare you and give you an idea and a better understanding of Unit 5 because you're having a quiz assignment on Friday. So this will, if you watch this video, it will help you to understand the lesson really well. We've already done it, but there's no harm in going over it again. And you can just watch this to revise over the lesson. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with the presentation. All right, so here are my slides. Okay, so we're going to just start off with the word verb in the English grammar. Okay, verb basically is an action word which we use in a sentence. Okay, action. Okay, the act of doing something is an action. So we are performing actions all the time, whether we know it or not. We've got so used to just living life, we don't realize that we are performing an action every single second of the day. Okay, whether I am talking, whether I am talking on the phone, whether I am brushing my hair, okay, whether I am looking at you while I'm talking, while I am switching the air conditioner off or on, whether I am reading a book, or whether I am, putting some lipstick if I like, whether I am writing with a pen or a pencil, whether I'm clicking the printer on to print something. Okay. So every single second of the day, you are performing an action. If you're sleeping, you're not really moving around much, but you're still performing an action of sleeping. When you're thinking, you're still performing an action. Okay. And when you love something, you're loving something, an action. Okay, so every single second you are performing an action, whether you're sitting motionless or whether you're moving around, running, playing, jumping, skipping, singing, smelling, eating. Every single second you are performing an action. Okay, so these action words are called verbs. All right. Oops. Just 1 second, children. Okay. So now there are many different types of verbs. Okay, you have action words which are verbs. Then you have other types of verbs, like you have something that shows possession. For example, have, has. It shows that something belongs to you. I have an apple. I have a book, for example. Okay, and then there are some words which show the state of being. I am hungry. I am upset. I am very happy. I am excited, and so forth. Okay. So the three main types of verbs are based on actions and whether there's objects in it. Okay. Or whether there are no objects in it. You have verbs which are transitive, intransitive, and incomplete. So to understand basically transitive, intransitive, and incomplete verbs, you have to know what an object is. Now you already know, okay, we've learned about this. In a sentence, okay, you have a subject and you have a predicate, okay, in a complete sentence, all right? Now, there is always a verb in a sentence, all right? No sentence is complete without a verb. Now, based on the sentence, you can find out whether the verb in the sentence is transitive, intransitive, or incomplete. Now, you all know that the subject in the sentence is the doer of the action. Okay. For example, if I say, I teach English, okay, the doer of the action of teaching is me, right? I. Okay. Supposing I say, the boy kicked a ball. The doer of the action in this sentence is the boy. Supposing I say the dog wagged its tail, the doer of the action or the subject of the sentence is the dog. Okay, now let's say take the same the sentence. The dog wagged its tail. The doer of the action is the dog. Okay, the action that the dog has done is wagged. Okay, now what has received the action of wagging? Okay, the tail. The dog wagged what? The tail. The tail has received the action of being wagged. Okay, so when there is a sentence, the dog wagged its tail, after the verb. Okay, this is the easiest way to find out whether the the verb is a transitive, intransitive, or incomplete verb. Okay, after the sentence, you have to after the verb, you must check to see if there is an object in the sentence. Now in this sentence, the dog wagged its tail. There is an object because there is an answer to the question what. The dog wagged what? The dog wagged its tail. So the tail is the object in the sentence. Okay? All right. So in this case, the verb wagged in this sentence is a transitive verb. Okay? So now we'll go into a lot more detail about transitive verb through the examples that I have in this slide. So action words, this is just a recap on what I had already told you about expressing an action. Okay, that is eat, walk, wag, give, play, etc. Then you have possession, to have something, to own something, or the state of being. I am, he is upset, he is angry, she is excited, she is happy, she is what do you call it? She is satisfied. She is anxious. Okay, so these are the state of being, how you are. Okay, okay. So now verbs, like I told you, can be transitive, intransitive, or incomplete. So, like I told you in the sentence, the dog wagged its tail, the boy kicked the ball, for example, the subject is doing an action. The boy kicked the ball. The boy is the subject or the doer of the action. The action or the verb is kicked. The boy kicked what? The ball. The object can either be a noun or a pronoun. Let's see something rude that the boy did. The boy kicked his friend, or the boy kicked him. Okay, in this case, the boy kicked what? His friend. That's the object. But supposing I say the boy kicked him. Okay, the boy kicked whom? Him. The boy, let's say his friend's name is Ravi. The boy kicked Ravi. The boy kicked whom? Okay, so Ravi receives the action of being kicked. His friend receives the action of being kicked. The ball receives the action of being kicked. So in all the three cases, all are nouns. For example, the ball, Ravi, okay, and him. Him is a pronoun. So the object or the noun, the pronoun which has received the action, okay, is the object in the sentence. So after the verb, ask the questions what or whom. Okay, and if there is an answer, and the answer is a noun or a pronoun, the verb is a transitive verb. Okay, so a transitive verb always has a noun that receives the action of the verb. Kicked the ball, kicked his friend, kicked Ravi, kicked him. Okay, so all these nouns and pronouns receive the action, and these are the direct object in the sentence. And when there is an object in the sentence, the verb in the sentence is a transitive verb. Okay, now let's look at lots of examples. Lisa raises her hand. First thing you have to do, okay, now just before that, let me just read the sentence and we identify the subject, the verb, and the object in the sentence, if there is an object. Okay. So in this case, who's doing the action? Lisa. She is the subject of the sentence. What's the verb? Raises. That's the verb. Now let's ask the question after the verb. Lisa raises what? There is an answer. Lisa raises her hand. That is the object of the sentence. It is the noun that is receiving the action of being raised. Okay, so in this case, the verb raises is a transitive verb, and there is an object in the sentence. Because there is an object in the sentence, the noun or the pronoun, in this case, the noun, has received the action. The hand has received the action of being raised by Lisa. Okay, so raises is a transitive verb in this sentence. So actions happen all around us at all times. Some actions have happened in the past, some are happening at the moment, and some will happen in the future. These are called tenses, which we will be learning in another unit. Okay, this is just so that you know the difference between a verb, you know the difference between tenses and stuff like that. So I've just it's a very basic thing which I just slide which I made so that it can give you a very basic and brief idea about tenses as well. Okay. So in connection with occurrence and time, verbs come in three tenses. So you must remember the tenses. Okay, tenses is a completely separate word, a completely different unit. I just added it here so that you wouldn't get confused between tenses and these different types of verbs. Okay, verbs are separate. Okay, tenses are different. Okay, tenses are different verbs and different occurrences in time, like the past, the present, and the future. That's for another day. All right. Okay. So verbs which require an object after it to complete its sense are called transitive verbs. Like Lisa raises her hand. Lisa raises what? There is an object after the verb. It is a noun. Okay. So the verb raises is a transitive verb. She threw the ball. Now look at the verb immediately. Threw. She threw what? The ball. The ball is an object. It is a noun. Okay. So since there is an object that completes the sense of the verb, we call it a transitive verb. Okay. The verb threw is a transitive verb. So transitive verbs sometimes have also indirect objects. Okay, when it has only one object, we just call it an object. But when it has two objects, we can find out which is the direct object and which is the indirect object in the sentence. That is another unit, that is unit 13, I think, which I'll do separately. But this is also to give you an idea about the different types of objects in a sentence. You have a direct object and an indirect object. Okay, so indirect objects name the object to whom or for whom the action was done, and this can be made very simple through examples. Okay, for example, Abdus gave Becky the pencil. Okay, now look at the verb first. Gave. Now the subject is Becky. You all know that. Gave is the verb, but it's what's after the verb that is concerning us. Okay, so Abdus gave what? Ask the question what. Abdus gave the pencil. Okay, so the verb is gave, the direct object is the pencil. The answer to the question what will always be the direct object if it's a noun or a pronoun. Okay, the indirect object for whom or to whom the action was done. Okay, so Abdus gave what? The pencil. Direct object. Abdus gave the pencil to whom? Becky. Okay, Becky. Becky is the indirect object. You can do it in another way also. Abdus gave whom the pencil? Becky. Indirect object. Abdus gave what to Becky? The pencil. The pencil is the direct object. So always remember, after the verb, the answer to what is the direct object and the answer to whom. If there are two objects in the sentence, okay, only when there are two objects in the sentence. All right. So the answer to what will always be the direct object. The answer to whom, okay, will be the indirect object if there are two objects in the sentence. But in the case of one sentence with one object in it, for example, the boy kicked the ball. The boy kicked what? Ball is the correct answer. The boy kicked him. It answers whom, but it's an object. Here we do not distinguish between direct and indirect objects in a sentence which has only one object. But the object has to be a noun or a pronoun. The direct object will answer the question what. What did he give? The pencil. The indirect answer answers the question to whom. To whom did he give the pencil? To Becky. Okay, so very, very, very simple. It just takes it's just a question of practicing, going through different sentences, identifying whether there is one object or more than one object in the sentence. Okay, then you can distinguish, or you can make the difference. You can see the difference between a direct object and the indirect object. So I'm going to give you a lot of examples so that you will find it easy. As soon as you see a sentence, it'll hit you, bam, and you'll know that there are two objects in the sentence. Okay, now look at this. She told Sarah a story. Now I'm going to just break it down a little bit. She is the subject, the doer of the action. What is the action she's doing? Told. Okay, Sarah a story. Now to find out that there are two objects, because after told there are two answers, Sarah and a story. She told what? A story. Direct object. She told whom the story? Sarah. Indirect object. Now remember, direct and indirect object will be there only if there are two objects in the sentence. When there is only one object, you don't have to sit and distinguish anything. Okay? Now, Gina gave him a book. Now, Gina is the doer of the action. Gave is the verb. Gina gave what? A book. Direct object. Gina gave whom the book, or gave the book to whom? Him. Like I told you, an object can be a noun or it can be a pronoun. Okay? He sent Julia a postcard. He is the doer of the action, the subject. Sent is the verb. He sent what? A postcard. Direct object. He sent whom the postcard, or he sent the postcard to whom? Julia is the indirect uh, object which is receiving the direct object. Okay. He bought his son a bike. He bought what? A bike. Direct object. He bought whom the bike, or bought the bike for whom? Him, his son. His son is the object which is receiving the direct object. Okay. Now you found out that in these cases, okay, where the verb has an object which is used to complete its sense, those are transitive verbs. Whatever we have gone through, okay, whether it contains one object in the sentence or whether it contains two objects, those verbs which require an object to complete its sense is a transitive verb. Okay, so verbs. Now we are going to go to intransitive verbs. All right. So the presence of objects in the sentence immediately tell you that it's a transitive verb. But the absence of objects, or when there are no objects in the sentence, it is a transitive verb. Okay? Now look at this. Verbs which do not require an object after it to complete its sense are called intransitive verbs. They do not require it. By itself, without the objects, it is a complete sentence, which makes complete sense. It's a complete thought. Okay? Now, for example, let's look at that. I have lots of examples for intransitive verbs. She sang beautifully. Okay. Now she is the doer of the action. The verb or the action that she does is sang. She sang what? Hmm. Is there an object that is a noun or a pronoun in the sentence? No, not really. She sang whom? Not at all. So, as you can see, after the verb sang, if you ask the question what or whom, there is absolutely no noun or pronoun that completes its sense. Okay, she sang beautifully. Okay, she answer to those questions. It means there's absolutely no object in the in the sentence. If I say she sang also by itself, it does not need an object or even the word beautifully to complete its sense. Okay, in such a case, the verb sang is an intransitive verb, absence of an object. Okay, for example, birds chirp. Birds chirp what? Birds chirp whom? There is nothing, but by itself, birds and chirp, there's a subject, there's a verb. It makes complete sense. You can say birds chirp, full stop. It's a sentence, a complete sentence. Okay, so it does not need an object to complete its sense. It's an intransitive verb. So let's see some more examples of intransitive verbs, shall we? So we arrived at the classroom. We is the subject who's doing the action. Arrived is the verb at the classroom. We arrived what? Hmm, there is a what? There is no answer. Now don't think that at the classroom would be the object in the sentence. No. Immediately after the verb, okay, you have to ask the question what or whom. We arrived what? There is no object. We arrived whom? There is absolutely no object in the sentence. Therefore, the verb arrived is an intransitive verb. Okay? Even if you say we arrived early, we arrived what? Early. Still, there is no noun, no pronoun to complete its sense. It is an intransitive verb. Harini went to the playground. Harini went what? Harini went home. There is no answer to what and whom. There is an answer to where. Okay, there is an answer to where, but we are only interested in the answer what and whom, which will give us a sense of whether there is an object or not. No object in this sentence either. Okay, so the word went is an intransitive verb. Okay, she spoke to her mother. Okay, she spoke what? She spoke whom? There is no answer to this verb. Okay, there is no object because she spoke to her mother. There is no object in this sentence and therefore it is an intransitive verb. They went to the restaurant. They went what? They went whom? There is no answer, but it answers the question they went where. Okay, so it is an intransitive verb. The cats sit near the window. The cats sit what? The cats sit where? Whom? There is no object. It shows you where the cat is sitting. But we are, like I told you, we are only interested in what and whom. So sit is an intransitive verb. Rosa runs every morning. Rosa runs what? Rosa runs whom? There is no object which completes the sense. It tells you, okay, she runs every morning. When does she run? When? Okay, we are not interested in when at the moment. Birds chirp. Birds chirp what? Birds chirp whom? There is no object. It is an intransitive verb. Shruti smiled happily. Shruti smiled what? Shruti smiled whom? No object. It answers the question, how did Shruti smile? How? But like I told you, what and whom are the only questions that we want answers to, which answer with a noun or a pronoun. Okay? Okay. The stars twinkle at night. The stars twinkle what? The stars twinkle whom? This answers the question, when do the stars twinkle? At night. Not interested in when. Birds fly in the sky. Birds fly what? Birds fly whom? Not birds fly where. So fly is an intransitive verb. In the first one, ninth one, twinkle is the intransitive verb. Shruti smiled happily. Smile is the intransitive verb since there is no object in the sentence. Now, so we finished off with transitive verbs which need to have an object, which can be a noun or a pronoun to complete its sense. Intransitive verbs by itself, okay, that is, you do not need an object to complete its sense. Okay. For example, Shruti smiled. Whether she smiled happily or sadly, it doesn't matter. After smile, it's already a sentence, right? Stars twinkle in the evening or in the night, okay, or at night, okay. Even without the rest of the words, by itself, it makes complete sense. It does not need an object to complete its sense. Intransitive. Now let's come to the last kind of verb, which is incomplete verbs. Okay? So some verbs do not make complete sense by themselves and need other words to be added to complete its sense. Okay? So some sentences you have to add something without which you have to add a word without which it does not make any sense at all. All right. So these words that are added, these words which you add now, okay, they are not objects. All right. Okay. They are not objects, but they do answer the question what. Okay. They do answer the question what, but they are not objects at all. Okay. So such verbs are called intransitive verbs. Now, transitive, you know that the object has to be a noun or a pronoun which is added for the sentence to make complete sense. Okay. For example, the boy kicked. The boy kicked what? The ball. You have to add the word ball or something else for the sentence to make complete sense. All right. Now look at these verbs, incomplete verbs. So these words, now the words that you add, okay, to make the words which are added for the sentence to make complete sense, which do answer the question what, but are not objects, these words are called what? Complements. Okay, complements. Now this is a very important part of incomplete verbs. So the words that you add, okay, after the verb, okay, these has to be added for the sentence to make complete sense, and it completes the verb. So that is why it is called an incomplete verb, because if you do not add that word or the complement after it, okay, if you don't add it, it is incomplete. All right. So a complement is that which completes the predicate part of the sentence. So let's see some examples. Okay, so a verb is incomplete if it does not create a complete thought with a subject only. For example, if I say, she has, she has. Now, she is a subject, the verb has is there, but it does not make any sense by itself. For example, if I ask somebody, has she brought her homework? And you say she has, it is something that is understood only between you and her. Okay, because you've spoken about something, and because you have asked the question, has she done her homework? Somebody says she has, and you understand. But supposing just like that somebody says she has, okay, you're not going to know she has what. Okay, okay, she has what. All right. For example, now uh, I'll make it easier with you for you with lots of examples. Now, okay, now we'll do something. Okay, like just look at this sentence. The dog barks. Full stop. It has a subject, it has a verb, but when you look at these two words together, you know that it makes complete sense. You can add some things even after the verbs barks, okay, to add more information. for the sentence. For example, the dog barks at a stranger. Okay, the dog barks by itself is a complete thought. Okay, you can add more to the sentence to make it give you more information. Okay, we can add some other words to expand the sentence, but these two words are enough to form the main sentence. The dog barks is already a sentence, whether you say at the lady, at the stranger, at other dogs, at my neighbor. Okay, it's just added stuff which makes the sentence bigger and gives you more information. But the dog barks by itself is a complete thought. Okay, it's an intransitive verb. The dog barks. Okay, barks what? Barks whom? There's no object immediately after the verb, right? So uh, it is an intransitive verb. Okay, now I'm coming to what an incomplete verb is. Let's see some other examples. So if we write this these two words, John seems. Okay, now you'll say, okay, there's a subject, there's a verb. But John seems doesn't make any sense, does it? We have to add something after seems to make the sentence a complete sentence. So seems is incomplete without the word that you add, which is the complement. It is absolutely incomplete. Okay, so seems is an incomplete verb. Now let's complete the sentence. Okay, so this sentence needs more information to be complete. So seems is incomplete without more information, right? So a complete sentence could be John seems what? Tired. Now, tired is completing the sense of John seems. Seems is incomplete without the complement tired. Okay. So John seems is incomplete verb. It is complete when you add tired to it. So seems is an incomplete verb. Okay. And only complete when you add a complement to it. So verbs which do not form a full sentence when only the subject or when the verb is there, but it doesn't form a complete sentence. These verbs are incomplete unless you add another word to it which complete its sense. And this word that you add will be the complement. Okay. For example, now certain words like, I like. Now you know that I have to add something to it. Okay. I like, for example, I like swimming. I like what? Swimming. So like here is incomplete unless I add something. Now swimming here will be the complement. Okay. He became, now seem, let's take an example. Seem, or seems, sorry. He seems, you have to add something. Other seems won't make sense. He seems won't make sense. He seems tired. He seems upset. He seems angry. He seems depressed. All these words are added to the incomplete verb seems to complete its sense. And these words which you add are called the complement. Okay. So he became. Now let's take the verb became. He became. Now just by he, which is a subject, became is a verb, but he and became, it does not make complete sense. Now I'm adding a complement or another word to complete the sentence and make it a complete thought. I've added the word sad. Sad in this case is a complement which has been added to the subject and the verb he became to complete the thought. In this case, became is incomplete unless I add sad, angry, depressed to it. Okay, so seems is an incomplete verb, and sad, angry, depressed, whatever is the complement that I'll add to complete the sentence and make it a complete thought. She seems, it's not complete, just she and seems. Seems is incomplete without the complement uninterested. Understood? Seems is an incomplete verb. Uninterested is the complement. Okay. Rajiv is worried. Rajiv is. Rajiv is a subject. Is the verb, but without adding the complement worried, it does not make complete sense. Okay, so is an incomplete verb. All helping verbs is, am, are. Okay, all these are incomplete verbs. So worried is the complement that I add to he is or Rajiv is what? Worried. Okay, it is answering the question what, but not with a noun, not with a pronoun, but with a word that completes the sense, which becomes the complement in the sentence. So we have learned that some intransitive verbs require a word or phrase to complete the predicate and make sense of the sentence. So such verbs are called verbs of incomplete predication or incomplete verbs. Exactly what I spoke about earlier, but in fancy English. All right, the same thing. So examples are helping verbs like is, am, are, was, were, become, look, seems, appear, taste. It tastes. Hmm. It tastes. It is the subject. Tastes is the verb. But unless I add something like delicious, it tastes delicious. Delicious is the word that I add, which is a complement and completes the sense of the sentence. So tastes will be an incomplete verb. Appear. He appears. He appears. Did he disappear? He appears. He appears what? He appears confused. He appears excited. You have to add confused or excited for the word appears, the subject, the verb, and the sentence to be a complete sentence. So appears would be incomplete until I added excited or angry or whatever, a complement to complete its sense. Okay, so same way. It smells. Let's say you see a rose, it smells. Who? Now, if I don't add anything after smells, you don't know whether it smells bad or whether it smells good or whether it smells heavenly, whatever. Okay? So it smells. Smells is incomplete unless I add. It smells uh, delicious. It smells heavenly. You have to add a word. It smells what? Heavenly. Okay? You have to add a complement to the verb after the verb to make it have complete sense. So what you add is the complement, and the verb which is incomplete without that complement is an incomplete verb. He looks what? Worried. But what? It's answering what? But it's not a noun, it's not a pronoun, it is a complement. So looks is an incomplete verb. It tastes delicious, you have to add. Delicious is the complement, tastes is the incomplete verb. Okay, the flowers smell. I have to add sweet to it or bad or whatever for it to make complete sense. By just saying the flowers smell, it is incomplete. Smell is an incomplete verb. Sweet is the complement. Okay, the sky grew dark. The sky grew what? Dark. The sky grew. Ooh, I didn't know skies could grow. The sky grew what? The sky grew dark. Dark is a complement. Grew is an incomplete verb. Excuse me. I feel. Say something. I feel. I feel what? Hungry. Feel is incomplete, but when you add hungry, it makes complete sense. Hungry is the complement. The milk turned sour. The milk turned. Turned where? Really? The milk turned what? Sour. You have to add sour for the sentence to make complete sense. The milk turned is incomplete without the complement sour. Turned is an incomplete verb. Sour is the complement. You got it? You got it? I know you got it. Okay? She appears. She appears. She disappeared. She appears. I have to say something after appears. Okay? She appears confused. Appears is incomplete without the complement confused. Incomplete word. Confused is the complement. They were victorious. Were is the incomplete. Supposing I say they were, you won't know what I'm talking about. But if I add they were what? They were victorious. Victorious is the complement which completes the sentence or the completes the sense of the verb for the verb were. Okay, so victorious were is the incomplete verb and victorious is the complement. The earth is. Now I told you all helping verbs are absolute incomplete verbs. Okay, is. The world is. Add something. My brain is going nuts. I need to know that it's a complete sentence. The earth is round. Earth is what? It's round. Okay? So round is the complement. Is an incomplete verb. They are intelligent. They are. You have to add something, darling. Are is an incomplete verb without the word intelligent. They are intelligent. They are stupid. Not very nice. We'll just stick to intelligent. They are what? Intelligent. Are is incomplete unless you add the complement intelligent. Okay? Are is the incomplete verb in the sentence. And that is the end of this unit, unit 5. Please go through the slides. Okay, and let me go back to the meet. Okay, go through the slides. I will be putting up the slides today. Go through this video on YouTube and children, your grammar workbook. Video, grammar workbook, go through the slides and you'll be so prepared for your exam. Okay, so I'll be preparing more videos. I think I'll do it on unit 1, 2, 3. I haven't done 1, 2, 3. So those, so I'll put it in as a playlist later so you can go over the units one by one right from the beginning towards the end and be super prepared for the final assessment exam next month. Okay, so bye, take care of yourselves. Mwah. Okay, see you later. See you tomorrow in class.